All right, good morning, traders. Today is September 6th, 2023. My name is John Carrigan. I moderate the BYOB trading room. All right, my morning SPY pivot is 450.08. Over that, I'm a bull. Under that, I'm a bear. SPY and QQQ and FNGU remain in their daily uptrends. IWM and the Diamond Dow appear to be producing a head and shoulders pattern by closing daily candles under the midpoint of their last move lower to create the higher low on the daily charts. All right, gold and silver, precious metals, both experiencing sharp pullbacks from their last failed attempts to produce higher highs. USO, crude oil, remains in very bullish uptrend on the daily and weekly charts, while UNG remains in a bearish weekly and daily downtrend. Possible SPY target for today is the anchored VWAP at 446.35. All right, let's go look at some charts. All right, first chart we'll take a look at is the US dollar index. All right, so if we roll out here, you can see the dollar's been recovering, closing daily candle over the major resistance. That's these tails that stick up over here on, looks like June of 2023 right there. And we've got some tails here that's sticking up. So we breached the major resistance. So there's we are with the US dollar index. So stronger dollar is not good for our markets because it makes us less competitive. Cheaper dollar makes our goods and services cheaper on the global stage, so we tend to have a robust market. So let me take that off. Actually, let's go ahead and look at the economic calendar. All right, economic calendar today, we got international trade in goods and services, something I was just talking about. At 8:30, they're going to give us a, looks like an audit. They're going to decide whether they want to revise the numbers. PMI composite final, they're going to see if they want to revise those numbers. ISM manufacturing index, 10 a.m. They're going to see if they want to revise those numbers. So we got PMI at 9:45, ISM at 10. Okay, now we got the beige book coming out at 2 p.m. Not a very heavy week for economic numbers. They may do something at 2 p.m. Just be aware of that. We'll see what happens because there's not too much they can, push the market one way in one direction or another. So look at 2 p.m. to see what they want to do. It's possible we could get a reversal today at 2 p.m. Just be aware of it. Not saying it's going to happen. It could happen at 2 p.m. We'll see what happens, all right? For earnings pretty light, all right? So here we are. Today's the 6th. We got Copart Incorporated, and underneath that's UPath, and then we'll look at the earnings for tomorrow. We got Toro Company. I don't know if that's a lawnmower. Maybe it is. And then we've got DocuSign coming out in the evening. So Toro opens up in the morning, is going to report in the morning. And DocuSign's going to report in the evening. And RH, I don't know if that's Red Hat, they're going to report in the evening as well. So not too much. Not too much. Not really big market caps, but good-sized market caps there for Friday. For Friday, we've got Satisfy Communications. Doesn't even say when they want to report, so not too much weight on that one since they don't even know when they're going to report. The big one for Friday is going to be Kroger, and that's in the morning on Friday. So there we are with the the earnings, and then we've had the economic calendar. And we take a good look at the US dollar index, kind of pulling back here. We'll see what it wants to do today. Should find a home right up here around 140, 104.40, 104.20, somewhere around in there. Should find some minor support because all these tails that we closed over, they will now offer some minor support. So let's look for those to offer some support for the US dollar to see if it's going to actually move back down or bounce up from there. So there's US dollar. So now let's go take a look at the SPY. So here we are yesterday. Red candle, lower low, lower high on the daily candle right there. Still in a daily uptrend. We have a higher low and a higher high. So still in a daily uptrend. Notice 3 is up over the 8 EMA. All three, price action, the 3 EMA, and the T-line, aka the 8 EMA, all up over the trend indicator. Okay, so I'm looking for a possible pullback to probably 446.30 area. If we hit that sooner than later in the day, we could see 445.22. We'll see what happens if they actually want to take it down this far today. Dollar seems to be dipping. The bulls may find a little bit of juice today. We'll see what happens. We're gapping down in the pre-market about $1. So I don't know if they're going to fill that gap in the morning or if they're going to do it later in the afternoon. We'll see what they want to do. So here's SPY. So notice that the minor support is going to be this big red candle that sticks up right there. So that's 445.22. And there was some pre-market activity that day that brought it all the way up to 446.38, which happens to be the same spot as this is going to get messy, anchored VWAP right here, 446.30. That's the blue line right there. And that anchored VWAP was anchored off of this high right here that happened on 7/27/2023. So right there, that's where this blue line anchored VWAP starts out. I'll come back down here because that's a little messy right there. So we are in a daily uptrend on the SPY. So let's see what happens. Now, in relation to the pullback midpoint, let's just take a look and see how far off we are with that. All right, notice that the midpoint also in the same location. So we have multiple technicals all in the same location. We've got the midpoint, the downtrend line, and we've got some minor support, all right there, 446.33. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we did come down there and spike that real fast and then bounce away from it. So we'll see what happens. There is the SPY. Now let's go take a look at QQQ. All right, this is the NASDAQ. All right, so here's the NASDAQ. There's a downtrend line. You can see red candle yesterday. Excuse me. This is today's candle, right? Let me make sure. Yep. Okay, yesterday's candle was green candle, making a lower high and a lower low. All right, so kind of respecting this downtrend line. We really don't want that. We want them to disrespect it and just jump right back over it. Notice we did close over the downtrend line. That is a good sign. We actually entered quadrant 4 for probably a couple hours in the QQQ on Friday, but now we seem to be knocking on the door again yesterday, so we'll see where they want to take it today. Now, in relation to the midpoint, we are up over the midpoint. That is very bullish. QQQ in a daily uptrend, higher low, higher high. So daily uptrend. Price action, the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA all over our trend indicator. So that's bullish. So everything looking good in QQQ except for this downtrend line right there. But closing candles up over it. Like to see a couple more daily candles close up in this area. We'll see what happens. Or if the downtrend line is going to slap it back down to the midpoint. And that's a possibility also. I don't know what the catalyst will be today. It could be the dollar. It could be the beige book. It could be anything that could cause market to fall back down to the midpoint. So we'll see what happens. We are gapping lower. So we'll see if we are going to fill that gap in SPY. QQQ, not gapping lower at all. Actually, kind of opening up right there where we actually gapping up slightly on QQQ. All right, so let's take a look at FNGU. All right, this is the indice that moves the markets, especially the QQQ and the SPY. They carry the heavyweights in it. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to go to a different chart. Here we are. Let's just take this one. All right, so here is our head and shoulders neckline. That would be the head right here. And you can see right shoulder, neckline right here. Left neck, right neck, neckline. Okay, so here's FNGU. Here's the downtrend that we had with a lower low, a lower high and a lower low. Now we're back into a daily uptrend with a higher low and a higher high. So we'll see how far they can get with that. They got jammed up at the midpoint and they traded right back up to it. So closing candles up over the midpoint, that's very bullish for FNGU. So things looking positive there on FNGU, closing over the midpoint. The next hurdle is going to be this trend line right here. This neckline. So that'll be the next hurdle for FNGUs to get up over that. Now, in the pre-market, they are gapping down slightly, not too bad. All right, so there's FNGU. So very nice, closing the candle up over the midpoint. About an equal low and a slightly higher high on FNGU. Now let's go look at Diamond Dow. All right, so here's Diamond Dow. Here's the pullback. This is the midpoint of the pullback. And Diamond Dow is struggling right here to hold price up over the midpoint. So not a good sign there. But the nice thing about Diamond Dow is you have a higher low right here. So this chart still in an uptrend, not broken yet. So even though it's not as strong as the other two, but the other two have heavyweights in them. Diamond Dow does not. So what you've got here is a higher low. So we'll see if Diamond Dow can get candles to close back up over the midpoint. Gonna take something probably pretty good to make that happen. I don't see any earnings that could produce that. It would have to be some type of news or something happening to the dollar or the beige book. Again, I don't know what's going to happen today, but for things to stay on track, we're going to need some positive news here soon. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's Diamond Dow putting in the higher low right here, putting in a lower high here. So kind of struggling here at the midpoint. This uptrend, this hourly uptrend is not broken. As you can see, we got price is not up over the trend indicator, and the 3 is, but the 8 EMA is not. So not looking good for Diamond Dow. Now let's go take a look at IWM. Now this is one that's got this is the Russell 2000. So you got a much broader index here. Like NASDAQ, I think only has 100, maybe 200, not sure. But IWM's got 2,000 in it, so 2,000 stocks. And I don't believe that any of them are weighted in the IWM. All right, so you're not getting that FNGU influence that you would in the QQQ and the SPY. So here's the price action for yesterday. Notice a total reversal right off of the midpoint. big red candle down, lower low, lower high. Not looking good for IWM. So here we are getting jammed up at the midpoint here of this pullback. But notice we are still in this uptrend. All right. So while we do have a red trend indicator ball from yesterday, we still remain in this uptrend. So it might take a little bit more time for this to bake to finally get back up over that midpoint. We'll see what they want to do. All in all, IWM has had a pretty decent year, starting out down here at 170, making it all the way up to 200 with a fast fall back to 170 and all the way back up to 200 again. So all in all, IWM has had a pretty decent year for the small and mid caps there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So from the IWM, we're going to go over to our technicals. And this is T2122. You can see here's yesterday's price action on the T2122. We fell rapidly. It doesn't show it on the chart, but on the T2122 it shows it. But you can see we fell from the buy zone right through the chop zone, the bullish chop zone, right into the bearish chop zone near the bottom of it. And then at the end of the day, we entered the sell zone. So huge drop in price action yesterday for T2122, going from one extreme to the other, going from buy to sell in a matter of 6.5 hours of trading. So now let's take a look at T2123. Here's the proof right there. You can see T2123, just a red trend indicator on the 15-minute chart all day, space in between the trend indicator and the price action all day. Not one green trend indicator ball at all. So no waffling about it. They're selling. All right, so let's take a look at the 3-bar chart, and you can see not much space there, but again, more proof that they're selling. So lots of selling in small and mid caps there on T2123. All right, so let's take a look. If you go back to FNGU, these are the weighted ones. Notice we look at yesterday's candle, not so much selling. We opened up down here and traded all the way back up for a excuse me, folks, for a bullish 180 right there. So there's a bull 180, reversing that red candle and closing almost over the top of that price action of Friday's candle. So in the weighted stocks, we had bullish action. In the small and mid cap, we are getting a different story there. So, but then again, these 10 stocks in the FNGU can, if they're moving up, they can drag the markets right up there with them. It doesn't matter what the 6,000 or 7,000 mid caps, small caps are doing. This can just move right up. So now let's go look at some precious metals. So here's silver. All right, silver yesterday putting in a horrid red candle there with a gap lower right there, lower high, lower low, and in the pre-market already gapping down some more. So here's silver's brief rally. This is their attempt to make the higher high. Failed attempt, got there way too fast. And as you can see, it falls just as fast as it goes up. Kind of like throwing a rock in the air and you get the apex of zero gravity right up here for a brief second. And then that rock comes falling back down. Just don't get underneath it. Right there. So closing under the midpoint of that failed attempt to make a higher high. So there's silver. Gold doing about the same thing, okay? Here's their attempt to breach the downtrend line and possibly make the higher high. Just got jammed up right there at the downtrend line and the midpoint, closing back underneath the midpoint there. So gold got a green trend indicator. Let's go take a look at silver. Silver's got a red, and they're gapping lower. So gold, even though it didn't go as far as silver, actually acting a little bit more bullish than silver. Silver got really far. See that? I mean, they almost took out their high, whereas gold, not even close. But yet gold's gapping up this morning as silver is gapping down. So a little bit of divergence going on there between gold and silver. Let's see what happens here. But gold getting jammed up at the downtrend line. All right, let's go take a look at crude oil. So let's look at USO. Wow, look at that candle yesterday. Just boom, boom, boom. I mean, this is way up here in the sky. Higher low, higher high, breaking the bull flag. This would be the bull flag. Just probably not even a bull flag, just a pullback right there. So they've marked off a trend for us right there. And we should just go ahead and draw that in. So you can see we've got a daily uptrend, and if you look at it on the weekly chart, we've got a weekly uptrend with a higher low and a higher high. So nice move on USO. You go back to the daily chart, same thing happening. A higher low and a higher high. So USO in a daily and a weekly uptrend here. Did not want that to happen. I wanted to see it consolidate a whole lot more, probably for another week. But keep an eye on this to come falling back down. Not sure what's going to happen, but that's an incredibly bullish move right there. So we'll see if they can hold that price action up there, maybe consolidate over to the right. We'll see what happens with crude oil. Now, UNG, a much different story. This is in a daily downtrend and a weekly downtrend. See the red trend indicator balls there? Huge bear flag right there on the daily chart. If we zoom out, you can see flagpole comes down, big hockey stick blade all the way over to the right. So nothing positive on UNG. Hopefully they can put in a bottom soon. It looks like we may get a kind of a inverse head and shoulders here, where this would be the head, all of this would be the right shoulder, and this would be the left shoulder. So we'll see what happens. So as far as necklines go on this inverse head and shoulders, we're just going to connect these two tops right there. So price action getting back over that $8 mark puts the inverse head and shoulders pattern into play. So watch for that. No sign of no real sign of anything happening now. A possible uptrend line, just simply connecting this low and this low. And you can see we got a bounce off of this trend line yesterday. So a much different reaction in natural gas. Big bear flag, whereas USO is just rocketing off to make new highs. Excuse me. So now let's take a look at SMH. Semiconductors just getting it done, doing all the right stuff. Semiconductors looking real good. Very bullish. Need to broke through this downtrend right there. need to start tackling this major resistance up here. That's these tails that stick up right there. So looking for price action to break back into quadrant 4 and start working on this major resistance here in SMH. So nice channel up. Notice the beautiful channel on that uptrend there. Started back in October of 2022. Still moving up. Nice bull flag. Sloppy bull flag, but just very bullish here. Failing to make the lower low, or significant lower low, and we're back off up at the highs. So there's SMH. IYT, not as pretty as SMH. Now, here's IYT kind of closing about 445 yesterday. Just another bear flag here in IYT. Closing in quadrant 1. Nothing bullish about IYT. And that's got to be dragging on that IWM to have all these transports back here. There's one good thing to note about IYT, and that is the higher low. It is a pullback to the channel, but yet we do have a higher low here. That is a positive thing to make a note of. Pullback to make a higher low. This could bounce back up to this midpoint. Now, they struggled here last week. You can see their struggle. So evidently they have not found the support they're looking for yet. We'll see where they take it later this week, if this week is going to be a turnaround for them. But there's the pullback in August. You can see at the beginning of August that that was the high. And here we are at the end of the August, back at the other side of the channel. So we had 3 bullish days there, and then it looks like they ran out of energy. They're looking for more spinach. Maybe they'll find it somewhere. I don't know where they're going to find it. If they have to come all the way back to 236 for support, we'll see. So here's some minor support here. They found some minor support. Maybe they have to come all the way down here to a little bit of recent major support right in through here. It's a possibility. We'll see what they want to do. There's IYT. Now let's look at XLF. So here's our financials. Financials kind of struggling at the midpoint. We were up over the midpoint briefly yesterday, but closing underneath the downtrend and underneath the midpoint. So not a good sign there. But, you know, the day is still young. This trend is still not broken. If they can just find some kind of juice sometime this week or next week, keep that trend going, that would be nice. The bad part is we got jammed up by this downtrend line that starts back here at the market high. One thing of note, they did bounce off of minor support. All right, so that's really what we like to see, is a bounce off of minor support. Now maybe they need to come back and test it one more time before moving higher. That's a possibility. They might have to test minor support once, maybe even 2 more times before moving up to make that new high. So here we are with XLF getting caught underneath the downtrend line. So that's it for the markets today, and I will do the market wrap up at around 4 o'clock this evening, and I'll get that posted up on YouTube. For all the YouTubers out there, if you subscribe, thank you. If you haven't, please do. Give me the thumbs up if you really like the video. I hope I'm helping some of you out there in YouTube land. Appreciate everybody that watches my videos, and I hope you get subscribed so that you can get more of the content of what I'm sharing. And that's it for right now until 4 o'clock. I'm going to take questions here in the trading room. And if you're not part of our trading room, please get please get a trial membership. It's in the description link down below.